Irrelevant. This madman, Koarek, he has completely reshuffled the cards. Now we not only have to deal with the High Ones, but also with him and his fanatics. However, there's also good news. You have probably seen it already. Physically, yes. And we also know how it works now, and how it can put an end to the cycle. It is easier than we thought. The beacon was constructed for one thing, to destroy the High Ones. Once reconstructed, infused with energy and activated, lit, as the Pyreans called it, it can banish the High Ones from this plane of existence. Immaterial, indeed. Essentially, they can be compared to the cold or to shadows. Omnipresent elements, yet we cannot touch them. Energy, if you will. However, there is a counterpart to each energy. Cold and fire, shadow and light, the High Ones and the beacon. Yes, imagine a torch driving away the darkness in the moment it is ignited. This is what the beacon can do, except that the banishing will be permanent. Yes, as I said, it needs to be infused with energy before it can be lit. I take it you have noticed the 3 sockets on its base. They are what it draws its power from. Once they are filled, the beacon can be ignited and the High Ones will be undone, once and for all. At least, if the old writings are true. The only thing left for us to find out is what these energy sources are. But we are close. Give the Arcanists some more time and I will let you know if there's any news. In the meantime, get equipped accordingly. Some of the Nerimes have landed already, and outbreaks of the Red Madness become more and more frequent as we speak. Well, it's only fair to tell you. You've always been honest to me, so I will do the same. Have you ever heard of the Night of the Thousand Fires? Between 8,192 and 8,202, there was an underground movement in Kira called the Red Half Moon. They were brought into being by a group of intellectuals and philosophers who, under all the freedom of thought Saldrine granted them, started questioning the reign of the Golden Queen, and thus the Lightborn themselves. Saldrine saw himself as the god of knowledge, and accordingly he reigned his country. In Kira, no opinion is forbidden, which is why it is home to countless magic schools and universities, where people do nothing but discuss the reason for being all day long. An appealing thought if you hear it for the first time, but a cunning people isn't easy to reign. There have been more revolts and riots in Kira than bones in a graveyard, and the Red Half Moon was the worst of them. Correct, just as my son did. But other than him, they fought like cowards. Terror, dust crystals planted in the marketplaces, and assassinations, you name it. If they killed innocents, they blamed the Golden Queen, and if they killed her soldiers, they celebrated themselves as liberators. However, they never succeeded in putting her down, and neither did she in destroying them, which is why the court turned to the Lightborn for help. A division of the Holy Order led by me, a young keeper of barely 30 winters. None to be taken seriously. You know, not everywhere is the Order as present as here on Enderal, or as it once was on Narim. In Kira, we were ridiculed. I saw the Kiranium keepers who served the Golden Queen. A bunch of decadent gluttons who had dedicated themselves to the court's banquets rather than to the will of the gods. They were pathetic. A moon after our arrival, we received an anonymous tip on where one of the half-moon's bases was supposed to be located, in a small coastal village. As we entered it, we were greeted by the township's elders, and the villagers themselves had gathered behind them. We should have seen how they stared at us, as if we were plunderers. I should have seen by then that something was wrong. Yes, but if there was one thing the Red Half Moon was good at, it was sowing lies. According to them, we were nothing but butchers who executed everyone unable to recite the revelation word for word. That's what they wanted us to think, and they did a good job at that. A veiled person here, an archer on the rooftops there. I got nervous, because villagers or not, they bested us in numbers, and they had kettled us. Then a man seemed to charge at us, and I gave the order to draw weapons. It was just the spark they needed. No, not a fight. A massacre. The villagers had pitchforks and shepherd staffs, and we had shadow steel swords, let alone the fact that we were trained warriors. I realized that I had made a mistake a split second after it started, but it was too late by then. My men, they slaughtered them all, like pigs. At the end of the day, 300 people were dead, and only 10 of them were keepers. Have you ever been in a big battle? Even if my men would have stopped, the villagers were blinded with rage and panic. No. From the moment I gave the order, it was too late. Well, what better proof of the Lightborn's cruelty is there than a division of keepers who, out of pure wickedness, slaughtered an entire village, women, children included. If the people had already distrusted us before that distrust had turned into hatred, and nothing could have changed that, not even the Golden Queen's heralds. We set sail back to Enderal a week later. 2 years after that, the Red Half Moon destroyed itself due to infighting. Ironic, isn't it? Maybe. The Lightborn and the Grandmaster back at that time showed the compassion I wouldn't grant myself. But I learned one thing, and that is that I will never again let fears about my own life influence my decisions. What happened in Kira was the consequence of my own cowardice and my unwillingness to give my life for a just cause. That will never happen again. What? Really? That's interesting. Provided this is true, that means that the emissaries aren't just people who fight the cleansing. They are people who fight for it too. And that also means that whoever granted us our powers and our purpose isn't an enemy of the High Ones, but a neutral party. Possibly. But we will find out all about that once we've taken care of the High Ones. Now, with the Naramis against us too, there's only one thing that matters. Resolve. We must not hesitate and allow anything to delay the lighting of the beacon any further. I beg your pardon. What? And the same goes for me? That's ridiculous. They wanted to deceive you, to sow discord. I saw the threat the cleansing posed before anyone else did. And without me, we would have never come that far. Something changed inside me since I fled from my prison. I feel it. And it is the same thing that made you a part of all this. Now, enough of this.